Welcome to the Anti-Aging Coaching Longevity Series, Part 3. I'm very excited to share this information with you today in this live event, and I'm Dr. Manon Fielding. I will be your host for this show, and I just am going to talk some about the miracle vitamin that you all have heard of, but most of you have no idea how miraculous it really is, because most of the research has come out in the last 5-10 years, and most of the doctors, medical doctors in our country, either aren't up with the latest research or aren't understanding the importance of the research and what levels people need to be at, because they're still recommending the 400 IU, which was a very old, based on old information. So we're going to talk today about what the newer recommendations are, what the benefits are to you, what the myths are about vitamin D. And I'm going to start with a quote from Dr. William Grant. It says that it looks like half of the cancer rates could be reduced by bringing people up to the 60 nanogram level. So we're going to talk about how that relates to where most people are. And I can tell you that 90% of the world's population is deficient based on this new information. So let's get started. Well, first we're going to talk about the top 6 vitamin D myths, because having it be so essential, we need to know how to take it and what the important facts are about it. So myth number 1 is, a lot of people think that fat-soluble vitamins get stored in your body and then you'll always have plenty of it if you take it one day and don't need to take it every day. But the fact is that it actually is not stored, and that we have to take it on a daily basis, and that actually people who have more fat actually have a harder time maintaining healthy blood levels of vitamin D. The other myth is that people think they could take too much, and there's been a lot of rumors about that through the medical profession. But the fact is, a lot of doctors are using very high dosages of vitamin D, up to 50 or more thousand IU a day, depending on the needs of the person, and not seeing any problems with toxicity. Myth number 3, the recommended daily allowance is enough for everyone. So, like I was mentioning at the beginning, we have recommended an RDA of 400 to 600 IU a day, but most of the people who take this amount are deficient based on what I said, the latest research, and we really need something close to 10 times that in order to reach that daily recommendation. Myth number 4 is vitamin D testing is unnecessary. Unfortunately, people, because of our body type, because of our age, our skin color, we need varying amounts because we're all a little different, right? So in order to know what your levels are, you need to have a test. And I recommend you can do this either through your doctor or this grassrootshealth.net /test has very inexpensive testing kits that you can use to test your own levels at home. Myth number 5 is that a lot of people think they can get enough from the sun or from food, and it is possible, but you have to be outdoors a lot, and you can't be wearing heavy clothes and sunscreen. The way a lot of people do nowadays, especially you live in Florida, you don't want to get skin cancer, so you're wearing long sleeves and you're wearing a lot of skin protector, and then you're not going to get vitamin D. So you do need to supplement. The last myth is that taking vitamin D causes kidney stones, and that's what a lot of people in the medical profession were afraid to give too high doses because they thought it would give kidney stones, but that is not likely. It's very, very unlikely, as a matter of fact. So what are some of the benefits of getting your vitamin D level up to this higher level that we were talking about? One of them is a tremendous reduction in breast cancer. So for women, this is absolutely essential. So research shows that while breast cancer afflicts 268,000 American women each year and kills over 41,000, it is also among the second or third most readily preventable cancers. And I don't hear people talking about this. So I really hope that when you hear this information that you will share it, because we need to save lives and we need to extend our lives and enjoy our lives. So what vitamin D can is an 83% lower breast cancer risk when you reach a level of 60 versus the recommended 20 nanograms per milliliter. So this is the way the blood test will come out when you get your blood test. At 69% lower breast cancer risk when it's level of 30, so up from 20. So you still have a significant amount, but the highest comes from having it 60 or over. And so that is a very important aspect of increasing your vitamin D level. But what if you already have breast cancer? So they found that if your D level at the time of diagnosis the D level at time of diagnosis was related to a 27% lower risk of breast cancer death, and a 21% lower risk of recurrence-free death, and 18% lower risk of invasive disease-free death. So if the vitamin D is initiated within 6 months of diagnosis, it could reduce death by 49%, lower the risk of breast cancer death. That is really pretty amazing to me. So the important thing is it's never too late. You can still, even if you've already had breast cancer or had been diagnosed with it and they say you're in remission, increasing your vitamin D is definitely going to be helpful to prevent any kind of recurrence. What about other kinds of cancers? So they find that vitamin D level, this chart may be a little bit difficult to understand, but you can see on the top, it said all-cause mortality, that at 30 nanograms per milliliter, it does improve your loss of life in general from all kinds of conditions. Alzheimer's and dementia is decreased. Breast cancer, you see all the way up at the 60 nanogram level, and that's similar for COVID. You see that it goes all the way up to 60. So if you get it up to that level, then that does protect against death from COVID. And colorectal cancer is another one that has a benefit from increasing your vitamin D level. And you see too, there's a few at the end about the vitamin D level at the 40 level in terms of hypertension, of preterm delivery. So there's actually a lot of benefit to women in terms of hormonal balance in general, because vitamin D is necessary to make your hormones. If you don't have enough vitamin D, you're not going to have balanced hormones. So vitamin D level is involved with many other aspects and not only breast cancer. And to us older folk who are wanting very much to prevent dementia and Alzheimer's, I know that my mom died from a form of dementia, and many of us have had to deal with that as we age and as we have aging parents. So the vitamin D level affects your risk, and double the risk of all-cause dementia and almost triple the risk of Alzheimer's when vitamin D levels were below 20. And when I first got tested, just so you can compare, I think mine was like, I don't know, something like between 12 and 18. I don't remember exactly. And now it's in the 80 range. And I'm happy with that because I have never gotten COVID and I haven't been sick in many years since I started this program, increasing my vitamin D. And then at the bottom there, you see it says a 24% lower risk of dementia and a 25% lower risk of Alzheimer's found when it was 20 nanograms or higher. So the higher it is, the less chance you have of developing dementia or Alzheimer's. It's really that powerful. And we do know that 90% of US adults have levels that are below what is necessary to make this have the biggest benefit from this. So I'm not done telling you about all the incredible things about vitamin D, and there really are actually more than this. This is just the ones that I picked out to share today because they affect older adults more than other parts of the population. Autoimmune diseases. So supplementation for 5 years with the vitamin D3 and omega-3 fatty acids reduce the incidence of autoimmune disease by 25 to 30% in older adults versus those who didn't receive either supplement. So the effect of vitamin D3 appeared stronger 2 years after supplementation. So it's something you need to start now so that you can prevent and diminish any of these disease states that you may already have: rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, multiple sclerosis, autoimmune thyroid disease, psoriasis. These are very debilitating conditions, and it's just amazing to me that a simple increase in your vitamin D3 can have such a big effect. And many doctors are using anywhere from 10,000 to 50,000 per day with no side effects, especially with these really challenging autoimmune diseases. And that's why it's important to get tested, because you really don't know if you're taking a dose. I take 5,000 every day, but 5,000 may not be enough for you, depending on your situation, the conditions you're dealing with, and like we were saying earlier, some of the other factors like skin color and age. So to kind of summarize, we found that vitamin D level accounted for 90% of the variance in breast cancer fatality. So it means that it made almost all the difference in terms of death from breast cancer. So it's never too late to start. We want to get your levels at least between 40 and 60, but I recommend getting over 60 to get the biggest preventive effect for some cancers, and that you need to test and retest to make sure that you're at that level, and periodically test to make sure you're staying there. You get your first test 10% off with grassrootshealth.net/test. And I am excited that you take the action and get tested today. So you've been watching the anti-aging tip number 3 with the anti-aging coach, Dr. Manon Fielding. I'm always at your service to discuss your personal holistic longevity program. You can contact me through Facebook messaging or through my website at www.askmeanythingaging.com. If you're a female over 40, I also have an anti-aging coaching club. I'd love for you to join that. You get a 20% discount on program and any supplements. And I will look forward to talking to you next week.